I am White Bear. How are you doing, everyone? My name is truly TheDomotaku. Oh gosh, this costume is way too much. Oh, that feels much more better. Things I do, man. How are you doing, everyone? It's me, TheDomotaku. Today we are talking about an anime movie called BLACKFOX and the White Bear. Just kidding, there's no white bear in the movie. The movie actually is called BLACKFOX. This is an interesting series / movie that I stumbled upon thanks to Crunchyroll's YouTube. This movie is an anime movie that you can watch for free on Crunchyroll right now. So if you guys are interested in it after the non-spoiler talk and general review about it, then you can probably go watch it on Crunchyroll and then come back for some spoiler discussion and stuff like that. So this movie, BLACKFOX, is made by Studio 3HZ, or 3 Hertz, I'm assuming. This is a familiar anime studio from my own experience. They have done recently, to the top of my head, it's Sword Art Online Gun Gale Alternative. They did Flip Flappers, and they also did Princess Principal, which is that's a very, very off the side favorite of mine. And they also did Sword No Method or Celestial Method. So they've done a bunch of things that I've seen, and I really like it. So when I heard that this was a movie, I was on the fence of it. So I'll explain that in the non-spoiler talk. But overall, this is a movie, not an anime series, which I was really led to by the video clip on YouTube via Crunchyroll's collection. They have like a lot of clips and stuff like that. They uploaded, I'm pretty sure, the first 30 minutes of the movie, like as like a like intro to the movie to show it off and stuff, and to have you hype and excited. And I watched that video and I was like, whoa, this looks like a freaking really good animation or series. And I was like, wow, what season is this from? I don't know when this is on. And I was looking at the anime charts and I was like, I never saw this on the anime charts. And then I found out it was a movie. I was like, oh, this is a movie? No wonder it looks so good. So I proceeded to wait for it, and I think it finally came out in like an insert date here. It came out like recent, like maybe like October, I believe. It's very like old, I guess. I mean, at first you couldn't watch it because you had the membership for Crunchyroll. Now it's free for everyone, so you can totally watch it for free. BLACKFOX is an interesting movie where it's the synopsis, at least, is about like this girl named Rika, who is essentially the daughter of some kind of ninja clan, hence my weeb Naruto headband. I'm sorry, I had that like since I was 10. So Rika is the part of a ninja family and is on the next step to being like the leader and the head of this ninja clan, the Isurugi. I believe that's her name, Rika Isurugi. On the offside, her dad is a scientist, and so she sort of like tries to become like her dad, not like a ninja, but more like a scientist like her dad, to knowledge and science and intelligence and whatnot. Except one day something happens, and essentially, so this is technically in the synopsis, so I'm not spoiling anything, but if you really don't want to know what the plot is essentially, then skip this part real quick. So essentially the plot is that on her 16th birthday, her father and grandfather are killed by some scientists or some mercenaries or something like that, who are after her dad's research. After this event, she vows for vengeance to discover the truth of who attacked her family and whatnot, and find out why and who and whatnot, and essentially exact vengeance on them, revenge sort of thing. And that's the simplest premise of this movie, honestly. And that's like 30 minutes of the film right there, essentially. And it got me hooked, really. It got me hooked. I was super excited about this film, and I wanted to see how it was. When I finally watched the film, I got a lot of good stuff. There's so many what do you call it? There's some action. I wouldn't say it's like over the like super spectacular, but it's like it looks like it was movie quality production action and fighting and stuff like that. And you have a lot of I'm really interested in the lore and this whole universe they have set up here, because essentially our main character Rika is like, you know, essentially using her ninja talents from her you know, her family side, like her grandpa teaching her ninjutsu or whatever, and essentially the mixing of her dad and her science and intelligence to like combine it together to be like essentially like some kind of like superhero, or like an assassin like named BLACKFOX essentially, right? And I honestly thought that was pretty cool. Like her like equipment and her gear and her character like design and everything is really nice. And essentially throughout the whole movie, you just sort of discover like who led the attack on her her family and whatnot, and just sort of what she does with that information and stuff like that. So I won't say anything about that. The characters, so our main character Rika, she's cool and all, except like I have some few gripes with the film. I'll explain that later in the film, but in the film I'll explain it later. But our main character Rika, I think she's pretty cool. She's like a badass, and like, you know, for being like 16 and going through this shit, she essentially has like some knowledge and technological like, you know, skills to craft tools and equipment to help her with her ninja stuff and infiltration and all that stuff, kind of like Persona 5. And there's some other characters in the story whom one has like a minimalist plot to an extent, and she's just like sort of like there. I'll explain her later. Her name, like, she's essentially her roommate, right? And then essentially then there's another girl who is very essential to the plot named, I'm sorry, and Mia. Yes, Mia. There's Rika, Mia, and Melissa. That's super easy to remember. Mia is sort of like a very interesting character because she's like this sort of rival to Rika and her like essential ninjutsu and science and all the technological stuff. And like, I don't know per se her explanation for her abilities or whatnot, but like they're just there, sort of thing. So that's sort of, I'll have to talk about that in depth later. And yeah, the cast is okay. Like, probably like I like the cast, except like they could have been developed more. I'll talk about that later after this. The plot overall is super simple, but I really like the approach and how this sort of really hooks you and whatnot. What else? I got the character of the plot. There was some notable soundtrack in here, of course, because our main character is from some kind of like ninja clan and stuff. Like, they have this like soundtrack and stuff that really like suits that, I guess. I can't remember it from the top of my head or even the name of it. They also have the action soundtrack kind of sound good, actually. I don't know it from heart or memory, but I just know that the action scenes were really great in here. There's not too much of it, but like, it's okay. I forgot how much. Let's see. It's an hour 30-minute film, so it's not too long, and it's not like per se short. But I guess now I'll go into my thought process and the in-depth thing about my gripe with the film. So, like I said, my gripe with the film is that it is a film. When I first encountered this series through the Crunchyroll YouTube thing, I thought it was a TV show, and you know, I was like, okay, they're gonna have like 12 episodes maybe or something like that, and you know, they're gonna like do the whole shebang and whatnot. Except no, we have a movie that is an hour 30 minutes, so everything is compressed into this time frame thing. Actually, 24 minutes per 12 episodes. That's more than 2 hours, right? Wait, it's an hour 30? Oh, it is 2 hours. Oh, an hour and a half. Well, duh. So 24. Yeah, it's about like 12 episodes with 25 episodes. It's probably more than an hour 30. So then, I can't like explain things in too much detail, but essentially there's some lack of, in my personal opinion, there's like a little lack of character development and just some explanation for things in the film because it is a film, and there is a somewhat of a time skip in the film that happens, and just, you know, things transition from point A to point B or point A to point C, then like I'm just like, oh, so, you know, we just don't get to see B, which is just like, you know, in my head like my only gripe. But I mean, throughout the film I sort of like forgave it to a sense. but I kind of would have really liked to see it because I really do like the whole universe and setting they have here. I'm pretty sure this is set in like New York or something like that, because I'm not imagining things, but they don't actually say like the setting of this place, but it looks like there's like a Times Square thing, which is of course New York, which is like, okay, they're in New York. And like, yeah, actually, you know what, I'll say that because I didn't even know what the whole setting or the plot was in this movie, because like, you know, I didn't know these things. Like, okay, so I'm assuming they're in New York because they're in Times Square. They never say that where they are and whatnot. I would first assume they were in Japan or something like that because ninjas and stuff, right? But no, they have the city and then Rika's age. So, you know, I said that she's 16, right? But then there is a time skip in the thing, and I didn't know how old this person was, and like, you know, what like are you old enough to be doing these things or whatnot? So like, I don't know anything, like all this information and the setting and like, how did you do this and where did you learn to do that, or how did you invent this stuff? And I'm just like, you know, those sort of minuscule things is just like, I really wish to see it develop, but they didn't show it. So that's like only gripe in the film, and I can't go into details of it because like spoilers and stuff. But I mean, eventually I forgave it. You know, it is a compressed 1 hour 30-minute film, so I'm just like, okay, you know what, for what the movie is and what it has, you know, for what it is, I thought it was good and entertaining. Yes, there are some like, you know, you kind of like skip around the bush in a few details and like a few things and stuff like that. But overall, I still enjoyed the film and thought it was entertaining. So there's that. The antagonist is very quite interesting, as of course, you know, they kind of killed the main character's family, so there's that, and of course there's a lot of personal gripe and emotion toward that thing, which play a lot of great moments in the film because of, you know, our main character encountering the person who murdered her family essentially, and revenge and vengeance and all that stuff. Naruto, Sasuke. Yeah, that's about it. Actually no. So in the end, I would like to see a sequel to this movie. I thought that, so the movie doesn't conclude in a very conclusive way, because like there's like, you know, the small plot here, but then there's still like there's still some other things left loose for a potential sequel or an anime or something like that. And like, I would like to see a potential sequel or an anime for this series. I thought it was pretty cool, and you can do a lot with it. You know, if you have a 12 episode like thing or like a 24 episode thing, you can totally like go in depth in like a lot of things and then build up towards the ending. Who knows what the ending is? I don't even know if this is based off a light novel or if it's original. Okay, this is an original movie. I'm using my hacks right now. So there is no source for this. They just sort of went along with it. I guess in that sense, then overall, this is still an enjoyable movie, in my opinion. I actually have to say, so some of the animation is the animation is a movie budget, you know, quality stuff, but then like, there's like some things in the movie, like with CGI walking people, and they just look really like, I wouldn't say, I guess they're bad, because they're just so noticeably different than the anime style and everything. And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's a CG guy, that's a CG guy, you look like a CG guy. I'm just like, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't really care. That's only for like background people, so it's kind of fine or whatever. It's kind of ignorable. Yeah, I'd really like to see a sequel to this series or film, if anything, or like a, you know, an anime adaptation, anime TV series thing, or another movie or whatever. I kind of really liked it. You know, the action was kind of cool for what it was, and they need to complete it, man. I was kind of, you know, it's like, it was good, but like, it's not totally 100% complete. You're like 90% complete, you know, with the whole plot and everything. So that'd be cool to see. Anyways, that's it for the non-spoiler discussion of BLACKFOX. If you guys are interested in it, check it out on Crunchyroll for free, and come back here to talk about spoilers. Or if you already saw the film, leave comments in the comment section below about what you thought about the film. If you thought, like, you know, it should be like an anime series, or more like spaced out to have some more development and more like focus on some things that happen and stuff like that. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the spoiler section. So take care. See you later. Welcome back, guys, to the spoiler section for BLACKFOX. So, where to begin? I actually just remembered that I'd never mentioned anything about the animal drones at all in the non-spoiler thing, so my bad, guys. So, I guess I'll just talk about my gripe with the film for now. So, yeah, like I said in the non-spoiler thing, this thing is a film, so everything is very compressed into, like, you know, this compressed, like, state. You only have an hour 30 minutes to tell the story, and that's about it. Overall, it worked and all, but, like, all these, like, you know, minute details and stuff like that is just, like, my own brain processing things. So, like, in the beginning, I deduced that they were in Times Square because I saw a big ass city and that Times Square looking thing. I was like, oh, they're in America, not in Japan. I guess no one said that at all, you know. And then also, our main character's age. And I'm just like, okay, she's 16. Well, actually, did she say 16? I forget. Like, I might have missed some details on, like, the age, but, like, yeah, I assumed that it was her 16th birthday. And then after the time skip happens, because the time skip happens right after her whole, like, her parents and family gets murdered, essentially. And then she looks way older now. I'm just like, whoa, damn. You look grown up now. You look like, you know, a year or two older. But no, it's only been 6 months. And I'm just like, the fuck? And it's like, okay. Anime characters' ages cannot, like, you know, process, or, you know, you can't tell anime character's age just by their appearance anymore. I should have known that, but that was just my brain processing, and I watched it. I was like, oh damn, you look older. You must have gotten, like, years of experience and, like, you know, doing your infiltration or, like, your ninja stuff and your investigation. But no, it's only been 6 months. And apparently she also joins this, like, private detective agency thing. You know, that's cool. I like that part. And, like, the boss overall, like, the boss character is, like, really, like, you know, like, there's not much about him. It's just, like, the boss guy, and, like, you know, he's, like, trying to make rent or whatever, and, like, he's, like, hard, like, you know, it's like, call me boss, but he has a kind side or whatever. Like, he's just honestly off to the side, and I don't really know too much about him. That's part of the, like, you know, how did she end up at this private detective agency thing? You know, what did she do in these 6 months after her thing? Did she go training? Did she create, like, a bunch of tools and everything? Did she do investigation and whatnot? Like, what did she do? So yeah, there's that. That's my only, you know, my own brain gripe thing, little minuscule, like, nitpicks and whatnot. What else? Mia's an interesting case because, number one, I thought her powers were lightning based in the beginning of the film, at least, or something like that. But no, apparently she can also fly, and she can also have some psychic teleconnection where she can, like, you know, control things and move them with her mind and throw them at you and stuff. So I'm just like, how many powers does she have? I thought she only has lightning. No, her power is essentially that she's a Sith Lord, is my basic description of her powers. She's a Sith Lord. She has all these abilities that a freaking Sith, if you're a Star Wars guy, like, you know. So she can shoot lightning and stuff like that. She can fly all of a sudden, well, probably because of her psychic telekinetic ability or whatever, and she can, like, throw shit at people with, like, you know, telekinetic and stuff like that, psychic, all stuff. So yeah, I'm just like, okay, how does she have all of these powers? Of course, in the movie, it's implied that she gets them from her dad, who invents them through some kind of, like, scientific experiment. But, like, lightning and flight and psychic and all that stuff, I'm just like, how do you have 3 different abilities? What is this power? The power to become a Sith Lord. Get my red lightsaber. So yeah, like, that thing, that's sort of, like, you know, details, like, it's sort of like, you get it, but, like, the more I think about it, I'm just like, how the hell does she have multiple different powers and stuff, you know? And there's that. You have also Melissa. Melissa is the third character in this film, main character in this film, and, you know, her character seems super, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It seems super, like, what do you call it? I can't think of the words. She's essentially, like, you know, the roommate character. She's like this, you know, little moe girl who cooks for the house and whatnot, and, like, you know, that was about it, right? But then no, like essentially towards the film, you have her cut herself with a kitchen knife while cooking, and then Mia comes up to her and like makes a comment where she feels super cold, and my brain clicked that in the beginning of the movie, you remember that when the Rika reaches their new hideout, there's this tube where the animal drones, because you have a 01, 02, and 03 right now, which is like the squirrel, the dog, and the hawk. Is it a hawk or a bird or whatever? And then there's the 00, and it was like, oh, who the hell is that? Like, what's in there? And apparently Melissa is the 00. She's like, I guess, the base for the whole like animal drone AI thing or project or whatever that her father created, and that is what the other bad guy's looking for, the freaking bald dude with the hat with the freaking obvious evil ass smiles, super obvious, and he's looking for her essentially, and apparently her ability is to control robots and stuff, because she took control of another like animal drone thing to help out Rika and Mia at a fight, and I was like, oh, okay, so she can like control robots and shit, I guess. I don't know what her powers is, because she's not even revealed till the end of the movie, sort of, basically. So there's that. Mia's father's an ass, of course, clearly. And like, you know, in terms of like a villain, he's super generic and kind of obvious and stuff. But I mean, the fight with him and Rika is cool, and Mia, and then like, it was a one-off, and then you guys freaking cast him aside, and then you have Rika fight Mia, and I'm just like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen, but it's just like, whatever, it happened. It wasn't like it was kind of short, you know, it was a little cool moment. And then, yeah, you know, the father's gone, the real villain's, of course, the bald dude with the evil ass smile, of course. I want to see what he can do, you know, with this team now. Like what would the sequel be? Although this is an original movie, so I don't know if there's gonna be a sequel or not. That'd be cool if there was. I personally want to see one. But yeah, like after the whole encounter with Mia's father and her arc, you know, of course, like, you know, being like a scientific dog for her dad, essentially, she's like casts them aside and finally moves on. And now they're a team. You got the BLACKFOX ninja master, and you have Mia the Sith Lord, and then you have Melissa, who looks like a freaking priest in the party. I'm assuming she's a healer or something like that. Her getup is literally like all white, and then she has like the priest looking thing. And I was like, are you a medic or something like that? I don't know what she does, because we never see her in action in this movie. And like, you know, they go off into the darkness, off on their mission, and that's the end of the movie. I'm just like, yeah, you know, that I could have totally dig this a second season, another movie of this. This is pretty cool. So yeah, essentially, like, and you know, there's also the part with how Mia killed Rika's parents. In the film, of course, there's like, you know, she has their time when Rika is really hesitant to, you know, even talk to Mia at all because of what she did to her family and stuff. But indeed, you know, she wasn't in control at that time, and she was being like taken control of by her dad and stuff. And you know, I mean, thinking about it now, kind of feels like they just kind of like, you know, they're just like okay with each other like way too fast in a sense, but I still get it because it's a movie, and like it's kind of like, oh yeah, like, you know, she forgave her, and now they're working together to bring down, I forgot what the company is called, like Gen Tech or something like that. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so BLACKFOX is an interesting case. It's like as a movie, it's good. I was entertained. I really liked it. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, the next Your Name or Ghibli or something like that, but it wasn't like freaking terrible, you know. It's just like, it was a good movie, you know. It was good of a movie that I would like to see a sequel, or like, you know, do an anime and then, you know, take your time building all these things. You can have the time skip there. You can just like, you know, show what happens in the 6 months that this time skip happens, you know, and stuff. You can probably expand on it. I wouldn't even mind if they have the same anime studio do it, because 3 Hertz did a lot of great stuff that I've seen personally. At least I've seen like a majority of the shows from the list I'm looking at down there. But yeah, I mean, BLACKFOX. Yeah. So that's it for spoilers so far. I have nothing else to think about in spoilers, because of course it was a very kind of short movie, and that's about it in terms of like everything. There's no source or things to go off of. It's just hypothesis and theory and whatnot so far. So let me know what you guys think about Black Fox in the comment section below. If you guys liked the movie, if you guys disliked the movie, if you guys thought that they should have, like, you know, went more in depth in things and details and whatnot, or would you like to see a sequel? Who's your favorite character? What's your favorite scene in the movie? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys later for the next video on the Domotaku channel. Yeah, I guess so. See you guys later. Take care, guys. Matane.